When you're a severely underperforming driver and you have no way of getting to the centre of attention by taking the good sporting way, you resort to silly stuff and hope for getting all eyes on you. That's exactly what Esteban Ocon did at the Monaco Grand Prix, much to the detriment of his teammate Pierre Gasly. The irresponsible accident that almost resulted in a disaster for the French team. With Bruno Famin vowing to take action, it showed that Alpine desperately need a driver change. Despite the ongoing talk about the strained relationship between Alpine Formula 1 teammates Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, there have been relatively few incidents between them. However, their collision at the Monaco Grand Prix feels like a breaking point. Alpine F1 boss Bruno Famin has strongly criticised Esteban Ocon for his part in the collision with Pierre Gasly, which also resulted in a grid penalty for Ocon. On the opening lap of the race, Ocon attempted an inside pass on Gasly at Portier, leading to Gasly's car being pushed into the outside barrier. This caused Ocon's car to become airborne and inflicted damage on both vehicles. The damage on Ocon's car was severe enough that he could not restart after the race was red flagged due to a separate incident. Ocon mentioned that the gearbox was significantly damaged, and Famin confirmed it needed to be replaced. Although F1's first lap rule leniency likely contributed to no penalties for the Sergio Perez-Kevin Magnussen collision that caused the red flag and the Oscar Piastri-Carlos Sainz incident, it did not prevent Ocon from being penalised. F1 stated that it was clear to them that the collision was caused solely by the overly ambitious overtaking attempt from too far back by car 31, which is Ocon. Thus, he was wholly to blame for the incident, and as he was unable to serve this in the race, having retired, it will now be converted to a significant grid drop of 5 places, which Ocon is set to serve in Canada. Famin's appearance on French channel Canal Plus broadcast during the race made it clear that he had a similar view of the incident. "It's sad, this kind of incident. It's exactly what we didn't want to see," he said, before specifying that it was Ocon's attack that he saw as totally inappropriate and there will be the appropriate consequences, he added, before suggesting they would be swift and significant. Some have interpreted this as a direct threat to bench Ocon for one or more races as punishment for what was considered a needless collision. However, the exact phrase Famin used in French doesn't translate directly into English. The closest equivalents are cut to the chase or cut right into the core, essentially meaning to make a decisive call to resolve something properly. Famin did not make any additional public comments about his position on the incident or the subsequent action beyond the official team press release on Sunday night. The team has been mindful since Bahrain that its competitive situation means it cannot let slip any opportunities to score points, so it has been instructing its drivers to take extra care when racing each other. It seems such policy was in play in Monaco too, as Gasly revealed afterwards that the rear car was supposed to help the one ahead. When asked about the incident, he was disappointed, saying that things like this should not happen. "I don't want to go into too much detail, but yeah, these things should not happen. It was a clear instruction from the team on what to do and what we were supposed to do, and this wasn't respected. I'm just glad we managed to get out of it with only some front wing damage and a couple of other things. Luckily, with the red flag, we managed to repair, but yeah, it should not happen." Everyone who followed the Alpine situation more in depth, this has been going on for a while, especially after the pair battled aggressively on the opening lap of the Miami Grand Prix, where they narrowly avoided contact more by luck than skill. After instructing the drivers to avoid such antics in the future, the more severe incident in Monaco has left Famin convinced that the situation can't continue as it is. No decision has been made yet, but Famin appears determined to ensure no repeat incidents occur. Ocon stated that he didn't review the incident, so he couldn't comment on it, but according to him, it was an unfortunate one. "It was a hard launch in the air and a hard landing, but you know, I've had worse days on that side of things, so I think I'm okay on it. Obviously, it's an unfortunate incident for us to retire early in the race after a long race that was going to go later on, so yeah, a tough one. We tried to basically put the car back in the garage or pull out of the fast lane to try try and repair what we could, but unfortunately we discovered too much damage to stay in. Famin is understood to have spoken to both drivers after the Monaco GP, with Ocon under scrutiny as the catalyst for the collision. Alpine's senior management is well aware of Ocon's history of troublesome interactions with teammates, including incidents with Fernando Alonso at Alpine and Sergio Perez at Force India. But one thing is for certain, Alpine's driver lineup has been volatile, creating a delicate management situation over the past year and a half. However, this problem likely won't persist much longer. As F1's silly season progresses, Ocon has been frequently linked with a move away from Alpine, while Gasly has not. Expectations are that the team will feature a Gasly +1 combination in 2025. The unsustainability of this partnership was anticipated. The drivers first collided in Australia last year, have had multiple near misses since, and their clash in Monaco deeply upset the team. Gasly suggested there was a pre-race agreement to prioritise the car that qualified ahead, implying that Ocon broke this understanding, and while race circumstances can justify opportunistic moves, Ocon's actions did not fall into this category. His first lap manoeuvre in Monaco immediately drew the ire of team boss Bruno Famin, who had feared such an incident would occur. Famin hasn't spoken to English language media, but judging by his emotional reaction to the French TV channel outlet, he placed the blame squarely on Ocon and threatened consequences. A severe response could be benching Ocon and giving reserve driver Jack Doan, considered a candidate for a 2025 race seat, a chance to audition. Alternatively, more subtle internal measures might be taken. Following the Monaco GP, the French team principal was found talking to him. It's worth mentioning that the 21-year-old Australian driver finished third in the 2023 FIA Formula 2 Championship. Before working with Alpine, he was being prepped for F1 on the Red Bull Junior team, and Ocon's performance has made the team consider giving him the spotlight for the rest of the season. It's unfortunate that Ocon finds himself in this position because he had a brilliant rise through the ranks, even beating Verstappen to the Formula 3 title a decade ago. He was at once seen as a promising prospect for France to produce another champion, with Mercedes backing him along the way. However, his career has stalled and his clashes with teammates have given him a bad reputation. He had the potential to become a champion, but now it seems he's jeopardizing his career with reckless moves. Because of the incident, Ocon was initially given a 10-second penalty, but that was soon changed to become a 5-position grid penalty at the next Grand Prix. Regardless of the short-term consequences, the long-term outlook is pretty clear. This teammate pairing is not sustainable. It's not just about one incident either, and Ocon hasn't always been the aggressor, but the ongoing strain and frequent realizations of fears are a bit too much. This situation is unlikely to continue into 2025. It could also impact Ocon's chances of switching to teams like Williams, Haas or even Audi. If Alpine decides to put Jack Doan in the car for a few races, it will be fascinating to see how the team dynamics evolve. Doan, as a grateful rookie, is likely to follow team orders diligently. Meanwhile, Ocon needs to carefully consider his actions and statements. If he speaks negatively to the press, he could damage his reputation further and jeopardize his career prospects. He has a significant decision to make: either demonstrate professionalism and resilience in response to this setback, or risk sealing his fate with a negative response. How he handles this situation will be crucial for his future in Formula 1. We'll now wait to see if Alpine will make the significant decision to drop Ocon. It's a rare occurrence to drop a driver mid-season, especially one still eligible to race, despite Ocon's 5-place grid penalty for Canada, which would apply to whoever takes his seat. What is for certain is that this should not go on for much longer, as it undermines the integrity not only of Alpine, but of the sport in general. What do you think? Should Ocon be dropped and replaced? Let us know in the comments below. We'll see you very soon in the next video.